From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBacks, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTimeAngles. And let's go ahead and let's jump right into it, man. We have ourselves a jam-packed show today. And you guys already know at 4 o'clock, next few hours, I will be on the Mike Abadir show on Voice America as well, too. You guys can go ahead and call in. I'll leave that call-in number for you guys on the Twitter as well, too. So pretty much multitasking a little bit here as well. You guys already know that I'm knee deep in action over here at Saratoga, Presque Downs, and Delmar just started. So we got 3 tracks going right now. And, I wouldn't have the third track here on Thursdays, but Presque Downs is now going 4 days a week. So, I got to do it. You know how it goes. So pretty much we have that in store. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic. And the Chargers prep for the first preseason game. What to expect going versus the Rams in the Battle of SoFi. So it's the Battle of SoFi, and always fun because that we have 2 teams in LA, long overdue. It took 20 some odd years to get them in a brand new stadium, all that good stuff. So we're here, and now we're in our 7th edition of the battle. It used to just be the Battle of LA. Now it's the Battle of SoFi, because we know that these 2 teams are not the faces of LA. We've already established that. You know what I mean? And so pretty much when you look at this situation right now, you look at this game, it's going to be a good evaluation game for both sides. But I think the team that needs to evaluate exactly what they have and what they can do is going to be the Rams. The Rams, we know that it's really tough sledding right now. What are we doing with Matt Stafford? Is Matt Stafford going to be starting on Saturday? What's the running game looking like? Is Cooper Kupp going to play? Because Cooper Kupp did have some hamstring issues at practice the other day as well, too. And if he doesn't play, who's going to be getting the significant time at the wide receiver position? I think that the Rams are possibly going to probably sit most of their starters, but the way that their team is set up and the roster is set up, I don't know if that's the smartest idea, because they have to evaluate. I don't think anybody has a locked in starting position if your name's not Aaron Donald or Matt Stafford or Cooper Kupp. I think everybody else is kind of, a 50-50 starter and things like that, because they have a high turnover this year with the Rams. But let's go ahead and talk about the Bolts, the Chargers. Man, the Chargers seem to have that glow, that aura, that thing, that makes them look like they can be one of the top tier teams in the NFL. First and foremost, you got the highest paid player in the league in Justin Herbert. Then you have Austin Eckler, a guy who's seen as one of the most versatile, if not the most versatile running back in the NFL. And then you might have the best trio of receivers pound for pound. You got Keenan Allen, the savvy vet. You have Mike Williams, the freak. And then you also have Quentin Johnston, the rookie, a guy who is pretty much a mix of both. He seems like he can be a consistent possession receiver, and he looks like he can be a speed guy as well, too. But he brings the element that really puts this team over the top. And we can't forget about Everett either. He's one of the better pass catching tight ends in the league as well too. And then you got Parham right behind him as well, a guy who has a lot of size to him, and it kind of excites you. But you hopefully the guy can stay healthy. And then the biggest question mark is how well the offensive line is going to be for the Chargers. They have all the playmakers in the world, like literally like everybody in the NFL. But their biggest star needs to be their offensive line on the offensive side of the ball. Justin Herbert's going to do Justin Herbert things. We already know that. But all in all, this is a good evaluation for the Chargers backup players, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think they're already pretty much set on their starters, and they don't want to do anything crazy. So I don't expect Herbert to play Saturday, even though this is the right type of game to play in, because you're playing against the house rival in the Rams, in a sense. You know what I mean? You share this house with the Rams. It's always fun to give the fans a little something, you know, almost like a celebrity game in a sense, you know, but we'll see. The defense, we already know what that situation is like right now. We know that it comes down to Bosa and Mack. Those guys will be sitting out. We know that. I think that the secondary will probably be half the secondary will probably play some significant time in the first quarter. I think Derwin James is probably somebody that won't be playing, but I think J.C. Jackson, since he didn't play much last year, will be somebody that will be out there for a few snaps just to get himself back acclimated into game action and things like that. But all in all, it's just pretty much a glorified scrimmage. It doesn't really matter who wins, but this is a bragging rights game as well too. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it does work out very well. I'll be making sure to make some strong notes for you guys for this game, because I'm gonna probably start a new article, just like State of the Lakers and Blue Crew Daily and things like that, because you know I like to give us a good idea about what goes on with our LA teams, and the Chargers have pretty much been the team that I chose to cover. I'm not rooting for them every week in and week out. I just want to go ahead and have a local team to cover, and the Chargers were the ones that won the coin toss. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But you guys get ready for the Bolt Report. That should be coming very, very soon. All right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and move forward with that, and we are going to stick around in the NFL. Is Desmond Ridder the guy in Atlanta, or just a bridge to their future quarterback? You know what? You guys know me. Last year, we didn't have the greatest quarterback class, but my favorite quarterback out that group was Desmond Ridder, because I felt like Desmond Ridder checked off all the boxes. Desmond Ridder was a guy that had a lot of experience. He played at a top-notch level for a few years. He also led Cincinnati to an undefeated record before they were beaten in the Final Four. And also, the team had only lost one game in his final 2 years at the school. So when you look at a guy like Desmond Ridder, you get a little excited, because you know that this guy gets better by the year. He started off, he was a clueless freshman at Cincinnati. By the time he ended, he was a Heisman Trophy candidate. So this guy is all about improving who he is game in, game out. And that showed last year in the final 6 games. At least the final month of the season, Desmond Ridder was a capable quarterback. It was just that his team wasn't capable of winning those games. But Atlanta was a team that stayed steady all year. They were a middling team all season, and they showed the traits of a team that can be a really good team moving forward if they can get point A and point B to come together. And they were able to find some success with getting Bijan Robinson, another offensive weapon to go with Mike Pitts, and also with Drake London as well too. You get excited when you think about Atlanta, and you see that Atlanta does have 3 playmakers, and they have a quarterback that you really don't know what to expect from yet. We got a short sample size of what he's capable of doing. But we do know that pretty much Atlanta's going to be a running team. And what he has to do is he has to be a deceptive quarterback. He has to be a guy that's going to be able to make plays happen with his feet and with his brain as well too. He's a guy that's going to have to be a great leader for this team to really, really have a chance at winning their division and getting to the playoffs this year. They're playing in one of the most open divisions I've ever seen in going into an NFL season. They're not locked in to win the championship. I know a lot of people love the plus 220 on Atlanta. They feel that's a sneaky pick, and that's actually the biggest liability at most books right now. But they are not the favorite to win that division. We all know it's on the Saints. It's really the Saints division to lose. But we know Derek Carr has never really been able to play up to the pressure when his team has expectations. So we know that that's a big question mark. Atlanta fits into the fold because they do have a roster, a team in place that can win the division. But it comes down to their signal caller, and it comes down to their play caller. I can trust Desmond Ridder, I think, moving forward. But you just hope that the play caller and the head coach don't sabotage his progress, because you know at the end of the day, Arthur Blank is so antsy to go ahead and add himself a franchise quarterback via draft, via first round. He wants to get another Matt Ryan. Ridder wasn't drafted in the first round. He was a third round pick. So there's a lot of questions about Desmond Ridder, but to me, Desmond Ridder should have been the first quarterback off the board. So Atlanta literally got a steal in this guy. They don't have to pay him much, and it works out moving forward. My biggest question for their franchise at this point right now is their head coach. Is their head coach the guy for the job? Or is he another, flash in the pan coordinator that was a part of a good situation for a season or two that literally took on a job they weren't prepared for? We will see this season, and it will tell very early in the season as well, too. So keep your eyes out on Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons and the progress that they make throughout the season. And pretty much we'll have more to talk about in the coming weeks when it comes to all these teams in the NFC South. So make sure you guys are paying attention each Friday for the NFL Bet Exchange as we go through our previews of the divisions in each conference. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into some college football. And let's go ahead and talk about Kansas State. Kansas State. Kansas State is a team that really got the short end of the stick. Let's keep it real. They won the Big 12 championship, and they won it in impressive fashion as well, too. But it was something that pretty much, you looked at it and you said, all right, well, they won, but who cares? You know what I mean? Because TCU did enough. Look, TCU in reality should never played in the Final Four. Yeah, they lost one game, but when you really look at everything, they were able to get there because they beat Kansas State during the season. And at the time when they played Kansas State, they were both top 15 teams. Okay. So that was a big deal when they did that. But if you knew anything about college football, you knew that Kansas State was probably going to blow away TCU because they had them beat. They were up 24 points in Fort Worth. So, this shouldn't have surprised you what Kansas State did. It wasn't an upset. It was literally them playing quarter five and beyond. And what happened is that Kansas State just was way tougher than TCU. And this team is going to keep being tougher than most of the Big 12 teams because they're not as talented as most of the Big 12 teams in reality. Let's keep it real. They're a group of guys that try really, really hard, and they execute the game plan that's put forth right every week as a group. It's that simple. It's nothing. It's not rocket science or anything like that. It's just the way they go about their business. That's all it is. So that will be something that gets people really excited moving forward in college football. You know what I mean? And that's something that we can look up to and say to ourselves, hey, there's a lot of different teams that present different elements, and that's Kansas State. Kansas State, to me, can they really build on what happened last season? Can they steal the Big 12 title again? Yes, they can. The Big 12 is once again a very wide open conference. It doesn't matter about Texas and Oklahoma. That R of them is gone, because literally before, if you weren't Oklahoma or Texas, you weren't getting to a Final Four. You weren't getting to a BCS. You weren't getting to any of that. But last year, the TCU made sure they broke that little monopoly over there. Why? Because it just doesn't look right anymore for them to cater to everything Texas and Oklahoma does when they have a great season, an undefeated season, but not the others. And also, it's because those two teams are leaving the Big 12. So there's no more favoritism towards those two teams. It's a wide open conference again. So that's what makes this a very intriguing season for the Kansas State Wildcats, in my opinion. And I think that when it comes down to it, the Kansas State Wildcats should be getting a lot of love at the windows in Vegas, in Jersey, wherever you can make future bets at for sports betting. This team should be top 5 on a lot of people's list because they won the conference last year, and they didn't get to play in the Final Four, and actually they didn't even get to play in a New Year's Eve bowl. So that's a lot to be pissed off about moving forward as a team. So I really, truly like exactly what Kansas State is doing this year, and I truly do feel that Kansas State can be a team that does make the big moves that put them in position to be one of the better teams in the nation. So with that, we go ahead and let's talk about another team that's actually, came back from the college football death itself, and that's the SMU Mustangs. And pretty much SMU looking to move to the ACC. Should they be seriously considered for the conference? I'm asking this question because, this team just came back into being relevant again. SMU spent almost 10 years outside of college football. They literally could not field a feasible team because they couldn't get scholarships they couldn't put players on scholarship for 10 years. So pretty much they turned into a Division III in a Division I situation, in a Division I conference. And literally at one point they couldn't even field a football team. You couldn't even go out there and play football. So this team it's literally set the program back by at least 25 years. And they have just now gotten their head back on the swivel. About a decade ago, they won a bowl game, which was a big deal because they were a team that constantly kept having 1-11 seasons, things of that nature. And June Jones really changed around the culture. But then they realized that they could be the team that, takes the guys that are a little rough around the edges and takes a quarterback that might have been overlooked at a bigger university, and he can come to SMU. And SMU has become a very consistent team in the AAC in both basketball and football. And that's what is key for this school to have some confidence that they can move on to a different conference. And I totally understand that. And I think that that's a good idea, but I still think that when you come down, when you get down to it, when you get down to the nitty gritty of the situation, SMU is quite not ready for an ACC. And I know that they're feeling a little jaded because they got left out of this Big 12 situation because they took 3 teams from the AAC. They took UCF, they took Houston, and they took Cincinnati. And BYU as an independent came in, but BYU was the priority to the Big 12. They wanted BYU way more than they wanted the 3 AAC teams. I'll keep it real with you because the fan base and what BYU brings to the table in both basketball and football. So they were in. It didn't matter. They were coming. But you can understand why SMU feels kind of left out because now they're going about to be in the AAC, and both of their rivals are leaving the conference. The teams that they are there to play against are gone. Houston was their main rival, and now Houston's gone, and that's a big dollars thing for SMU. And you know what? They're in the Dallas market. And they feel like being in the Dallas market means that you can be in a better conference. And the ACC is a conference that literally has to go national now as well too. Notre Dame is trying to bring in Stanford and Cal as the extra help, but they may need one more. And SMU is volunteering themselves to the ACC, and the ACC is giving them a long look. But I still feel that this school is just not big enough to be in the ACC. I think that they're right where they need to be in the AAC. That's the right conference for them. That's the right look for them. And I think that's where they fit at the most. But it's up to the ACC to make that choice. And it seems like everybody who's been applying for these conferences, they're easily getting into these conferences. So there's a lot of things that we really do need to observe and take very seriously, in a fact that we can have a very, very fun college football atmosphere, because now it's going to be a national thing. It's not about regional, it's not about local. And now we have new rivalries. We'll have new national rivalries. See, a lot of people are very against what's going on, but nobody likes change. And I think that this might be one of the greatest maneuvers in all of sports when it's all said and done. They all say it's about the money, but I feel like it's more about the competition than anything. And that's something that we do have to respect. We have to respect the competition of the situation. Now we don't have to worry about teams being in mediocre conferences, because half the conference is really a top 10 situation. And I think that they can almost do away with rankings right now as well too. So there's just a lot of things that are very, very, very constant here with college football, and that is evolving. And I think that teams like SMU, I know that they probably had some nice donors and things like that, and the program has changed a whole lot in the last 15 years or so. But they still got that stain on them from what happened in the 80s. And honestly, any power conference knows that they would be doing a bit much bringing this team in. So they're going to have to be careful about dealing with SMU. SMU may need to wait another few years and show everybody that they're going to be able to play ball fair and not be a team that's going to try to get in a whole bunch of renegades and things of that nature. So it's a complicated situation, but it's something that can be fixed. But I say right now, if I was the ACC, yes to Cal and Stanford, because those teams deserve to be in a P5 because they're P5 schools. But SMU, you're gonna have to wait, because you guys broke rules that you guys broke rules that literally should have banished you guys to Division III. You guys saw what happened to CCNY. CCNY was one of the best college basketball programs ever. And just because they shaved points back almost 70 some odd years ago, that team has never returned to Division I. So they're lucky that they got to stay in Division I in the first place. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on that topic right there. But I say no to SMU in the ACC, and hopefully they go ahead and come to their senses and do the right thing. But we know that you can play up a rivalry with Kentucky. You can play up a rivalry with Louisville. You can play up a rivalry with who else can you play up a rivalry with? Anybody that's up north, Syracuse, things like that. That would be cute, but SMU is like South Florida. It's just you're just not ready for something like that yet. It's just sorry, you're just not. All right, so pretty much with that, we're gonna go ahead and take our first commercial break, and when I get back, it's time to talk some Blue Crew Daily and talk some MLB late afternoon games. We got games that have already ended that were in the early spots. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
What's up, world? We are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. So let's go ahead and jump into some Blue Crew Daily. And the Dodgers getting another sweep, and they swept the DBacks. I know they're feeling good about that because they split with the DBacks this year and then lost 3 out of 4. Now they're sweeping the DBacks. So they're even now in their 10 games they played this year, and they are 5-5 on the year playing each other. So the tiebreaker is now even, and it has fell back to the Dodgers. Now they swept the D-backs, and they've won their last 8 out of 9 as they start their 4-gamer at the Ravine against the Rockies. So the Rockies, a team the Dodgers haven't played in a while, but you already know they have the Rockies number. They've had the Rockies number for about 10 years now. So pretty much this is another situation that shows that you have a team that can go ahead and literally make their own make their own path. And this is a very fun situation for the Dodgers, because now we're at the point to where winning is all that matters. And the Dodgers saved all their energy for this point of the year. I feel like they know that they were good enough to just stay ahead and stay above 500, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games above 500. That's all you need to do to stay intact of the playoff race in baseball. If you understand baseball, you know that's exactly what you got to do. You just have to have a winning record and be 5 games better than 500, and you'll be on your way to a possible playoff situation. So the Dodgers kept themselves steady. And then when they got to the playoff, right before they got to the playoff break, they started picking it up. And I kept telling everybody, when they get to July, things are going to get picked up. Things got picked up. Then, they ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw for a weekend or so and came back and bounced right back. Their first, they had just got back home. They wound up losing 4 out of 6 of those home games. They came back, and now they've won their last 8 out of 9. That's how special of a Dodger team this is this year. It's not about winning 115, 16, 17 games. It's about thoroughly getting through your schedule and taking care of your business against the teams that you need to take care of your business against. And then, you know what? Not being a team that gets caught up in the madness of trying to overhaul your group to get rentals. No, the Dodgers have been at this party for a while. And that's what makes them so dangerous with the Astros, because these teams have been consistently the best teams in baseball for the last 10 years. And everybody can attest to that. So with this, the Dodgers put themselves in position to keep their lead intact and move even further along with that lead. The Diamondbacks are absolutely have hit the wall. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they're still going to be heavy in the race because you know what? This should motivate them now. The Giants are starting to kind of tailor off a little bit. And the Dodgers just know that they had to keep they had to keep their focus on moving forward. They can't look back because once you look back, once you peek around your shoulder, here they come. The Dodgers aren't doing that right now. They're playing great baseball. Tonight, they have Clay Kershaw back on the mound from what it looks like going against Blache, but we will need to have that confirmed to us at least at 2 hours before pitch time. So that's the tentative starter for right now. But be prepared for the Dodgers to possibly have to be bullpen tonight as well, too. So I look forward to a great series. 4-gamer happening starting at the Ravine tonight at 7:10 Pacific time. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our MLB Thursday night. And let's first talk about games that have already went down, that have already taken place. And pretty much we have ourselves some pretty good games, some pretty good situations. You have the Orioles win today. That's actually a win for my clients today. Then we also had the Braves and the Pirates. I had the Braves today with the contrarian -1.5. They lost 7-5. Also had the Blue Jays Guardians over, but that game wound up going under, and the Guardians won that game 4-3, and that was a much-needed win for the Guardians, who've been struggling as of late. They got swept over the weekend, and they dropped the first few games of this series to the Blue Jays, so they find themselves losers of their last 5 out of 6. So that's something that they're going to have to really step up on. And then we also had the Tigers and Twins game, and that game stayed under, and the Tigers once again won that series, because I told you guys this earlier in the week that the Twins have had their issues with the Tigers, and it's still happening. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So once again, the Tigers do win that series and move forward with another good win. So that's our MLB Thursday day matinee. Our MLB Thursday night, though, is a little different. We do have ourselves a division matchup tonight. We have ourselves a interleague matchup tonight, and then we also have ourselves a interdivision game that's in the same league. All right, so up first, Nats Phillies. You have Corbin on the mound tonight for the Nats, and then you have Noyo on the mound for the Phillies. When you look at what's going on in this game, Corbin is still seen as one of the top pitchers for the Nationals, even though his ERA doesn't back him up in that regard. He's 7-11 on the season, 5.03 ERA as well, too. He had a pretty good outing last time out, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, struck out 2, walked 1. That's not bad, though. He went 6 1/3 in that spot. He gave 4 runs in the previous game. Before that, only struck out 2. But then he got a little banged around by Colorado. He struck out 5 that day, but he gave 6 runs over 10 hits. So, it's all depends on how this team approaches the situation with Corbin. But I still think that Corbin should be intact to have himself a very, very good game tonight. So we'll see how this one shapes up. See how it shakes out. And pretty much from what I'm seeing here, I like the Nats with the +1.5 in this spot. I think that it will be something that's going to be very valuable. We're getting +110 there as well, too. So that should be good. That should be real good. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's where we're going with that one right there. And we move forward from there. So let's go ahead and jump into our next game. And that's going to be this one right here. It's going to be the Rays and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals come into this game with the same record as the Nats, 50-65, last place in their division, or tied for last place. I don't know, but they're not making the playoffs this year. And I wasn't shocked when the Cardinals, that's what I said. I said that the Central, if you got behind early in the Central and you weren't gonna step it up, you'll wind up getting complacent, and that's what happened to the Cardinals this year. The Rays coming in here 69-47. They have lost the best record in the league. They have lost the best record in the AL, and now they're just trying to hold on to second place, it seems like. because I'm looking at it right now. They're still 3.5 games behind ahead of Toronto, but at one point they were like 12 games ahead of Toronto and 14 games ahead of the Red Sox and 15 games ahead of the Yankees and blase, blase, blase. But right now, this team finds themselves 2.5 games behind the Orioles at this point. But all that can change this weekend because they're not far behind them in wins. That's the whole thing. They have 69. Baltimore has 71. But for a while, they were tied with the same amount of wins, but the Rays have 3 more losses than they do. So that means that literally the Orioles have 3 more games than the Rays. So it'll all even itself out. So really, in reality, they're kind of tied. So when it comes down to this game tonight, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make it real simple for all of us. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cards as our dog of the day. I feel like Liberatore is going to have himself a good game against Beaks. So I like the plus 165 tonight with the Cardinals. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and get into the Royals and the Red Sox. This is going to be another really good game. And tonight you have James Paxton on the mound for the Red Sox. And then for Kansas City tonight, you have a pitcher who's stepping in for Marsh tonight. So it's going to be Austin Cox and pause. And Austin is a guy that only pitches an inning or so. So he's going to be a spot starter. So he won't go more than 2 innings tonight. And that means it's going to be bullpen tonight for the Royals. So what I like here is I think that everybody's going to get caught off guard because you had expectations of who a certain pitcher was going to be tonight. And James Paxton has been dealing very well since he's came back off the IR. So I truly do like this game to go under 10.5 tonight. So that's that, and that's where we're going. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into Talking Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing. With daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And man, let's get ourselves intact, baby. It's Talking Tickets time. And Talking Tickets, we have 3 different sports we're dealing with tonight. We got baseball, basketball, and football tonight. So, that's a better and a sports fan's dream, right? So let's go ahead and jump into the WNBA first. And in the WNBA, I have the Fever tonight with the plus 115 as the skin at home dog in a real pick'em game with the Lynx. So I like them tonight with the plus 115. Also, you have the Dream and the Storm tonight in Seattle. I like the over 163.5 in this spot. I feel like both teams will be scoring tonight. So let's go ahead and see how that shapes up. And then we also have the Mercury tonight in a game versus the Mystics. Or no, actually the Connecticut Sun. I'm sorry. And I know that they're probably shorthanded and everything like that. But still, the Mercury are at home. They're going to entertain their home crowd. I think this will probably be an over bet for the Sun as well, too, because they're one of the better teams in the WNBA as well. But I think that the Mercury have enough to get the cover tonight. So I'm taking the 7-1 tonight with the WNBA Thursday Night Pick 3. All right, we move forward, and here goes the NFL preseason Thursday double. We have the Patriots coming in with the plus 145. And you know what? It's not hard to trust the Patriots at home in preseason. They used to literally make it sport to dominate at home in preseason. The Patriots take this type of stuff seriously. I know that they're not going to be playing most of their starters, but they have guys on that bench who are trying to get themselves in the NFL. And the way that the Patriots coach, those guys are always prepared to play football games. So I like the way that this sets up. I know that Houston's going to be a big favorite tonight because CJ Stroud's probably going to get about a quarter and a half of the snaps. And I know that a lot of people are excited because they feel like he's going to come in and be an automatic improvement to that offense, but it just really doesn't work like that. He still got to get to know exactly what he's doing. So I think he'll struggle a bit here in his first game, and that will give us the advantage on getting this win tonight. So that's where I'm thinking of that game. And then the Seahawks, they are another team that absolutely just crushes on teams at home in the preseason because they like to entertain their home crowd, a very, very faithful, loyal bunch. So I like the Seahawks tonight to win this one by 4 or better. I think they win by a touchdown or better. So there it is. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up with the MLB Primetime Pick 4. We have the 19-1 here with the Cards plus 165. That is going to be our dog of the day as well, too. And then I'm back, but that's gonna be a wrap for today's show. Having some internet issues, but I'm back, and that's what where we're at for today. And pretty much, you guys are the absolute best, as I always say. And we already know what time it is, man. We know that, pretty much, and this is what happens. I'm on the phone, so that's why it looks like this. So I want to thank you guys again. Thank you so much, you guys. And you know what? We'll be back tomorrow. We won't have these same issues because it's the end of the show. So with that, as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media